So in a year and a half, 96,655. The way the yield curve works, market is pricing about 175 basis points decline in 3-month rates. That's typically an indication that market is expecting a recession. Okay. But the nice thing about this is you can hedge your interest rate exposure. Because if interest rates go up, LIBOR goes up, shorting the euro dollar futures is going to make you money. But we will use a better tool to hedge long-term interest rate exposure. With swap contracts. I'll kind of get it started, the idea started today, and we'll actually do it next week. Basically, two counterparties exchange fixed and floating interest payments, where the floating payment is based on an interest rate index, such as LIBOR. I've seen a few times swaps from fixed to prime rate, but since prime rate and LIBOR are very highly correlated, the market for swaps using LIBOR is much more liquid. You're going to have a fixed rate payer pays the swap rate, and floating rate payer pays the LIBOR one period in arrears. I'll just set this up and I'll send you guys home. The actual calculation takes some time, or setting up the spreadsheet takes some time. Once we do it, it's no big deal. Talking about notional amount, this is the amount over which you calculate fixed and floating payments. Typically, multiples of 10 million. You also need frequency. Most common is 3 months. You also need length. How long in time? So suppose we will do a 2-year LIBOR to fixed swap with 3-month payments. Current 3-month LIBOR is, let's find that. Let's use today's number. 477. Oh, 3 months. Where the hell is 3 months? Oh, they're not giving it anymore. Oh, there it is. 501,771. So first floating payment is 10 million times the current LIBOR divided by 4 since it's quarterly. So if you're a floating rate payer, 3 months from now, you're going to pay 125,442. Okay. This is in 3 months. Next floating payment is in 6 months, and that will be determined by the LIBOR rate 3 months from now. We don't know what it's going to be, but we know when we're going to check that. On June 21st, we're going to look at the LIBOR. That's what it is. The fixed rate payer will pay the swap rate. Whatever that happens to be. Let me see if I can find what the market thinks of that. 2 years, 3 months LIBOR swap. For some reason, it's only 7-year here. Now, you'll just look at it from the market. Oh, here it is. 4 and 45%. Okay. I don't know what the frequency of that is. It's probably 3 months. That means the fixed rate payers will pay 10 million times 4.45%, 111,250 every 3 months until the end, okay? For the next 8 quarters. But we don't know what the rate is going to be, what the payment is going to be for the floating. Every 3 months, the net amount is exchanged. So in this case, we know what's going to happen 3 months from now. The floating rate payers will pay a net of 125, 442.75 minus 14,000. Okay. That's why these commas help. So the actual payment is going to be, floating rate payer is going to pay 14,192.75. What's going to happen on the second payment? That depends on the LIBOR. If the LIBOR is lower, this guy is going to pay a little bit less. If it's higher, they're going to pay higher. Remember, if you're a floating rate payer, you are receiving fixed rate. If you're a fixed rate payer, you are receiving floating rate. If you end up finding that number to be negative, that means you're reversing the direction of the payment. You can't pay negative numbers. You're receiving the positive version of that. That's pretty much the setup for a swap. The nice thing about this is it hedges a long-term interest rate exposure in one contract. Instead of using duration arguments, you keep doing it. We're going to actually show how SVB could have used a swap contract to hedge the exposure to the duration risk. I mean, it's not because they didn't know how to do it. They chose not to do it. And since their regulators didn't think about the risk of a bank run, it basically didn't get caught. This means, deposit insurance is going to go up pretty soon. Let's stop here for today. On Monday, we're going to actually develop a spreadsheet that calculates all these swap rates using some, basic interest rates. Some using Eurodollar futures, some using basic interest rates. Because it turns out that we need to come up with what we call a forward curve. Once you have a forward curve, calculating the swap price is one goal seek. That's it.